Blog Talk Radio.
Let there be light.
Hello everyone, welcome to Starseed Radio. Pleasure to have everyone here who's listening and tuning into the frequency of our radio show and enjoying what we have to bring. First of all, I'm Zoe.
And I'm Heavenly Butterfly. Welcome everybody.
First, before we introduce our amazing guest, I want to say a few things. First of all, I'm trying to get the chat up, but it seems like I'm having difficulties of some sort. It won't load. Second, please remember that you can catch us also on starseeds.net anytime. And I'd also like to announce that my co-host, Heavenly Butterfly, had a beautiful, beautiful baby granddaughter. She's so beautiful. Heavenly, you want to share, some information about your granddaughter?
Yes, my beautiful baby girl. I call her Lily Butterfly, even though Butterfly is technically not her legal name. But it makes sense that she's the Lily Butterfly. But anyways, she's breathtaking, takes my breath away, her beauty. And her energy just heals. I could feel heart chakras opening up everywhere, whoever was holding her. And she's so powerful, and I'm just so blessed. I just wanted to share that wonderful news with you all. Thank you, Zoe, for taking the time out to allow me to share that.
Oh, you're welcome. And anytime a new light comes into the world, I think it should be shared. So I'm going to introduce our amazing guest, Judy Satori. She does the sound of light and the language of light, and she's going to be involved in a lot of healing work and a lot of amazing things tonight, but I think it's better for her to explain herself because I think she'd do a better job than me explaining. Judy?
Hi Zoe and Heavenly Butterfly. It's a pleasure to be on the program tonight and to speak to everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you. I guess, I'm talking to Starseeds here, and I consider myself a Starseed as well. And I know that I have a lot of soul experience on the star Sirius. In fact, I've just recorded this week a program for World Puja. It's called Coming of Age, Entry into Galactic Civilization, The Big Picture. And I was joined on this program by representatives from a number of the star races who contributed their genetics, their DNA, to the human being, the human experiment, really. And those star races were Pleiades, Sirius, Orion, Andromeda, Arcturus, and Lyra. And so I had no idea that I would ever speak star languages. I spent most of my life in being a mother and a housewife and for about 30 years in marketing and public relations. And then about 12 years ago my life totally changed because I received in the mail a brochure about a Connecting with Spirit class in Auckland in New Zealand where I lived. And I felt absolutely compelled to go along. And at that class I met, certainly energetically because my whole body shook, and in my mind and in my consciousness, a being of light who looked to me to be a very tall man dressed in a purple robe with a little black beard and dark eyes, and he told me in my mind telepathically that his name was Balthazar. Didn't know who Balthazar was, but in the week that followed I discovered that Balthazar was one of the Magi, one of the three wise men who was there at the birth of Jesus. And Balthazar started to take me on an incredible journey. He became my energy friend, if you like, and we would talk together most nights. And he really started to prepare me step by step to do what I now do, which is to speak various star languages or languages of light, spiritual languages really, and these spiritual languages can be translated, but mostly the language that comes through me is transmitted by the Elohim, the creator aspect of God, which is to do with recreation. And as some of you, I'm sure, will know, Sirius, the star Sirius, is very much to do with recreation. And as we move now towards 2012 and the shift of the Earth into fifth-dimensional frequency, we need to be recreated physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to handle this faster pulsating energy of the fifth dimension. And so this is why these beautiful beings of light from other star systems, these guardian races, if you like, of the Earth, have come to us now to virtually hold us by the hand and walk us through this gateway into a wider, more expansive version of ourselves. They're a bit like our adult selves. That's what I feel, Zoe and Heavenly Butterfly. And your listeners might like to know that on September the 20th on World Purger, this is worldpurger.org, I have a program called Coming of Age, Entry into Galactic Civilization, the big picture, where these members of these star races will actually be speaking through me. It's free on World Purger, and if you go to worldpurger.org, you can see when this program is and how to access it. You just click on the day. It's a Monday, so it's next Monday actually, and it's broadcast twice at 12:30 and at 3:30 in the afternoon Pacific time.
Okay.
Pacific time. Anyway, that's really not a promo about that, but I guess it's really so that people understand that I consider myself to be star-seeded as well. And we all are, really. Every person on the planet is star-seeded, because we all come through the portal of Lyra, I believe, and have stepped down through different star civilizations on our way to Earth. Some of us remember and some of us don't, and some of us have come specifically to be here on Earth at this time so that we can assist the Earth and the people of the Earth through this transition. And this is my purpose now.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And it's amazing the information you bring here, and it's going to be very helpful to a lot of people who are really...
Oh, thank you.
Well,
I'm just playing a role like we all are, you see. And I didn't know what my role was 12 years ago when I first learned to connect with Spirit. I had no idea that I would ever speak these weird languages. And, really. And I was very much entrenched in corporate business land. And when I started to speak these languages of light, it was about 7 years ago. It was in Christchurch, New Zealand, where they just had the earthquake. And I was at a big spiritual convention there. And I was working in the healing tent, because it was a place where you went and you swapped your skills and abilities. And so I was an energy healer, you see, as well as a channel. And I was doing healing work on people, and Spirit came to me and said, we want you to speak to everybody at 7 o'clock at night on New Year's Day. And I said, well, what do you want me to speak about? And they said, don't worry, just ask if you can speak. So I had a friend there who was also in the healing tent, and he was also a channel. And he was getting the same information, so I trusted this, and I asked the administrator if I could speak. And at 7 o'clock I stood in this big marquee in front of all these people, and I said, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but Spirit are saying that they want to speak to you. So I shut my eyes, and to my surprise, out of my mouth came this torrent of very strange sounding language. I didn't really know what was happening. I had my eyes tightly shut, you see. I didn't want to open them. But I started to hear everybody in the tent laughing. I thought, what are they laughing about? And I felt really a bit stupid. I thought, gosh, they're laughing at me. So I sort of tentatively snuck an eye open. And some of the people were crying, some of the people were laughing, but all of them were totally rooted to the spot with the energy. And I started to realize then that Spirit had prepared me to play a role and to do something, which was to prepare people to hold this energy of the fifth dimension. And so now what happens with the energy, it's transmitted through me, usually by the Elohim, but also by Metatron, sometimes by the Archangel Metatron, and various other star races, for example. But it's to clear karmic miasms. This is the distorted energy frequency of past life thought and belief. I'm sure most of you listening will understand that the thoughts and beliefs that we have created in our many previous lives are not always happy ones, and they can be in response to traumatic situations, and thoughts of fear or anger or any energy vibration that is not at love vibration create blocks or distortions within our energy field. And this is what I mean by karmic miasms. And these energy distortions can affect the conduction of our energy through the body. They can affect the morphogenetic fields, like the substrate energy building blocks that literally create our physical body in this lifetime. They are encoded or locked into the cellular memory of the cells of our body. They are stuck, if you like, into the roots and facets of our chakra system. And they affect us. They affect us physically, and they affect us emotionally. You know, and I've seen people with lumps come up on their head when they're clearing karmic miasmic patterning. You know, I've had also rashes come up on my throat as I've been clearing throat chakra issues. And the thing, Zoe and Heavenly Butterfly, that's really happening at the moment is that as we get nearer and nearer to 2012, the Earth is being increasingly bombarded by very catalytic energy coming from deep space, coming from the galactic center. And this is tuning the Earth, preparing the crystalline core of the Earth and the energy grids of the Earth for the shift, you see. But what it's also doing is it's bringing up to clear a lot of this stuck karmic miasmic distorted frequency from our past life thought and beliefs. And this is making people feel physically or emotionally really out of balance. And this is a lot of what I do, is to clear this stuck energy and help to move it on and out of the body and the body's energy fields more quickly, so that we can become more, return, if you like, to more of the perfected pattern that we originally created to be. I also work to rewire the energy circuitry of the body so that the chakras can adjust to this faster pulsating energy that's coming through them, and to open what's called axiotonal lines. These are like energy feeder lines of light that come into the acupuncture points of the human energy subsystem. These have been blocked or closed through eons. Since the fall, really, since the time that mankind started to misuse their spiritual abilities and God-given energy. And so these feeder lines of light, as part of a divine plan, are being opened up, reactivated, switched on, so that we can connect once more to higher dimensions of light and the incoming energy of information and programming of these higher dimensions. And of course we're talking about the extraterrestrial star systems who have contributed their genetics to the DNA as part of this opening. I call these beings the Christed extraterrestrials because they are working in conjunction with the Christ energy and the law of one energy, and they are of God. They hear of support to us.
That's very funny that you say that, because I just began calling them Christed extraterrestrials after I read something somewhere, and I think it was on the Great White Lodge website, and they had a section called Christed extraterrestrials, and I was like, you know what, that's a perfect name for the ones who are in that vibration with the Christ energy.
Yes. Well, you see, they're part of this 12-dimensional energy matrix of which we are part of this, you see, because the Earth in the third dimension is part of 12 dimensions of reality of, we could call them the lower heavens, or this part of God's creation. And like the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians are 7th dimensional, those from Orion 8th dimensional, the Andromedans 9th dimensional, and those from Lyra